Welcome to Flawless Shoe Reviews. Now, this is the Asics GT-2014 and I'm going to compare it to the previous model, the Asics GT-2000 version 13. We've seen 5 major upgrades in the version 14. I'm going to break these down so you know if it's worthwhile upgrading. First of all, we have to look at the midsole, where we have the FF Blast Max cushioning as opposed to the FF Blast Plus cushioning that we've seen in the version 13. So this is a similar midsole that you saw in the Nova Blast 5 and the Asics Glide Ride Max. It's very bouncy, springy, responsive cushioning, unlike what we saw in the version 13, which is a lot firmer than the version 12 and a bit more responsive as a result. So they feel completely different underfoot, and the geometry is different as well, which I'll touch on in a moment. But if you're looking for a shoe with that firm feel, you might be a little bit disappointed with version 14. However, they have a much more aggressive geometry, which means that it transitions much more smoothly from the back to the front of the shoe. So you can see it's got a much more aggressive forefoot rocker on the version 14 compared to the 13, with an excellent heel bevel as well. When we think about the stability in the shoes, while it's still a bit bouncier and softer in the version 14, we had some issues and some people commenting on version 13 where they felt a little bit of bite or a little bit of pressure where that sidewall is on the inside aspect of the version 13. Well, it still appears to be the same size, but definitely don't feel it as much on your foot in the version 14. I think that's because the cushioning is a little softer and a little bit more bouncy. So with the firmer cushion on the 13, you could just feel that sidewall pressing up into your foot. When I was walking around, you can definitely have that awareness of some mild pressure on the inside of your foot. However, when I was running, I didn't notice it at all. And I must say the 3D guidance system coupled up with the stiff heel counter really gave a stable platform when I initiated contact with the ground. So it really felt like a mild to moderate stability shoe despite the new softer cushioning. So they did an excellent job at holding on to that stability despite the changes in the midsole. And as we move along the shoe, we still have a nice broad forefoot with some nice sole flare. So we still have plenty of space and ground contact with this shoe, which gives lots of support in the forefoot and some nice sole flare. They changed the rubber outlay on the undersole of the shoe, so it looks more similar to what we see in the Nova Blast 5, and we know that has some incredible durability. So once we clock up the more miles in this, I'll let you know how it lasts, but I imagine it will be very similar to the Nova Blast 5. And as we move on top of the shoe, we've got a brand new engineered mesh, so it's a different layered and look to what we saw in the version 13. It's a little bit nicer in my opinion. We've got plenty of space in the toe box, comes in a wide version, and it's a true to size and length. We still have these nice thin tongues on top, except we get a little bit of a pull-on tab on the 14 that we don't have on the 13, but we lose the external pull-on tab on the heel from the 13 that we don't have on the 14 now. So it would have been nice, I think, just to keep that because it makes it a little bit easier to slip on. Otherwise, we still have similar amount of padding around the heel cup, and we have a slight change in the stack of the shoe. So we now have an extra half a mil in the rear foot, 36.5 in the rear foot, 28.5 in the forefoot, giving you that 8mm drop, and the weight has changed slightly as well, coming in around 273 grams for a size 9 men's US in the version 14 versus 267 grams, so just a couple of grams heavier, which is what you'd expect with the different type of cushioning and some changes on top of the shoe. So when it comes to performance, well, day to day walking around it feels nice and stable without being too intrusive up into the arch of your foot, so it does a great job of keeping you nice and centered as you walk around or if you want to stand for long periods of time. When it comes to running, as I say, it's a lot bouncier, a lot springier than what we saw in version 13, so those of you who want to use it for more marathon distance and marathon pace running for 5 to 10Ks, I think you'll really enjoy it. It's a lot more fun of a shoe than what we saw in version 13, and because it maintains that relative lightweight for a stability shoe, I think you can do some up-tempo workouts in it rather than what we saw in the 14, which is a little bit too firm in my opinion for doing longer distance, quicker workouts. So overall, an excellent update in my opinion. You've added some extra bounce, some extra spring, while maintaining that stability in the heel and the midfoot. If you've got any questions on either of the shoes, please drop them in the comment section below. We've got links to the shoes in the description if you want to check out the latest prices on Amazon. Otherwise, if you found the video helpful, like and share and subscribing makes a massive difference to the channel. Thank you very much for watching.